Guns down in Givens Park, but not only there, throughout Austin. That's the message being sent tonight. Community advocates calling for an end to gun violence in Black communities. KXAN's Jayla Washington shows us why the fight is personal for those involved.
Wow. Off the break, right off the bat, in Black communities. And this is a uber liberal town, Austin here. Wow. How can I say this? If it wasn't for the Sun population in this town of Austin, just like every other town, they would be one of the safest cities in the planet. Okay? Not just the country, but in the planet. Okay? In the solar system. All right? So you have to talk about where the violence is happening. Okay? Hope you guys can understand that, man. Because I know y'all gonna call these people names and coons and all this. It's all happening in the Black community. Like, all of it. Statistically, the amount that's not happening in the Black community is negligible.
Guns down in Givens Park, but not only there, throughout Austin. That's the message being sent tonight. Community advocates calling for an end to gun violence in Black communities. KXAN's Jayla Washington shows us why the fight is personal for those involved.
Givens Park is home to culture, authenticity, and gatherings. But it's also where advocates spoke out on Sunday, shining light on something they say has impacted their community for far too long.
He was killed in Austin, Texas.
Tordrick Fowler says he lost his son to gun violence back in 2020. And right here in Givens,
Big Dre from 12th Street. He got killed probably 2 years ago, and it crushed the city.
So toward the park's entrance, Fowler and other organizers invited the community out to draw attention to what's happening.
I'm tired of the black on black crimes, the young man versus young man, kids shooting kids.
This is Gary Simples.
It's time out for the guns.
He's another organizer of the event, but he also says he runs a car service for funerals.
I have done numerous of funerals from people that have been shot or killed down here at Givens Park.
So this Givens Park place is a trouble spot for the city. It's a place where, there's a lot of things can happen. I don't know what this guy's supposed to say, man. I mean, he runs a car service for funerals. So he sees it all. Like, it's not like this is somebody separated from the situation. He's ground zero in the situation. And he's saying basically the same thing I'm saying. And the same thing that's obvious. All of these cities, if you removed the Sun population, they would be some of the safest cities in the planet.
Kids shooting kids.
This is Gary Simples.
It's time out for the guns.
He's another organizer of the event, but he also says he runs a car service for funerals.
I have done numerous of funerals from people that have been shot or killed down here at Givens Park.
Austin Police Department stats show there have been 65 gun-related calls since 2018. Neighbors saying some of those ended deadly. And Interim Police Chief Joseph Chacon just launched a new gun initiative in April because of an increase in serious violent gun crimes. Advocates are also pushing for tech involvement to get youth away from guns.
If you can show a kid how to make money or benefit off of a tablet or a video game before you can show them a weapon, you can combat crime.
I know this brother's got good intentions, man, but I think what he's saying is pretty much ridiculous. All the little homies I know, and I know a bunch, man, they're all very tech savvy on their cell phones. They all know how to do everything. They know how to upload. That's where a lot of the beef is. A lot of the beef nowadays starts on social media. They all have Instagram, IG, TikTok. They know how to upload videos. They know how to do the graphics. They know how to edit. They know how to do everything. They know how to, they got basically studios on their phones. Make their little rap songs. What he needs to be telling them is to go down to Walmart, fill out an application, go down to Target, fill out an application. I bet you if you go to the McDonald's or the Target or the Walmart or the Kohl's or the Home Depot in that city of Austin, it's a bunch of young black people working in there. A bunch of them. Same thing here. You go any department store, it's just a bunch of young black people working there. The kids that are on the street, they enjoy doing, that's the life they want to live. They get a lot of status, gratification, respect. They're getting something out of it. Let's stop acting like we can save everybody with these programs. What's it's going to come down to is safety, man. You have to remove some people from the population. Okay? I know Colin Kaepernick said abolish prisons and all that stuff, but I don't think Colin Kaepernick has even been to one prison to say that. Think about all the prisons. Think about all the guys that are in those prisons. If you let them out on the streets. Some of these guys, these young guys in these cities like Austin, they're on a one-way trip to prison. And there's nothing you can do to save them. The prudent, shrewd thing to do is to protect the public, the grandmamas, the good kids, the good men, the good women, the babies that end up getting shot by them if you keep releasing them every time they get arrested. None of this stuff this guy's talking about is going to work. Because if it would have worked, do you think he would have been the first person to think of it? Let's be honest. This guy's just came up with something that no one has ever tried. And voila, he's got it. This is going to fix it. Or have they tried the thing he's doing in thousands of cities for 40, 50 years with zero positive results?
If you can show a kid how to make money or benefit off of a tablet or a video game before you can show them a weapon, you can combat crime.
There's strength in unity, and Fowler, he's driven to keep pushing for change with his son close to his heart.
He would want me to take the torch and just lead by example. And just
Jayla Washington, KXAN News.
And during that report, you heard about the Violence Intervention Program. Just to give you more background, it was initiated in mid-May. Austin police have arrested 57 people on 158 different gun-related charges. Officers have also taken 108 illegal guns. The program will continue until the end of August.
The minor in custody is expected to be charged with 2 counts of murder in the shooting deaths of 2 teen brothers in Arlington. Good evening. I'm Clarice Tinsley. Police say the juvenile is responsible for killing 13-year-old Josh Williams and 17-year-old Caleb Williams. The Williams brothers and their cousin allegedly got into an argument with a group of 3 other people seen in surveillance images here yesterday outside of a barber shop. The Williams brothers started to walk home when the group they were arguing with started shooting. Fox 4's David Centendry has more as the shooting sparks a call for change.
Now, I'm sure these young men who were killed, this picture doesn't accurately portray who they were in the moments of their death. This is them at a funeral. You can see them holding a obituary right there. However, seeing 2 brothers gunned down in broad daylight, did you see the sun beaming in that video? Like, the sun was shining. It's broad daylight. It's 1:12 in the afternoon. And I know what the other guys were thinking. When you get in an argument with some brothers and they start walking away, you pretty much thinking if you're pretty much thinking if they're street guys or they homeboys or whatever, that they're going to get something to come back. That's just the mentality, man. That's how guys think. You start walking away, people think you're going to get something. That's what it is.
Surveillance images here yesterday outside of a barber shop. The Williams brothers started to walk home when the group they were arguing with started shooting. Fox 4's David Centendry has more as the shooting sparks a call for change. David.
Clarice, police say this was a gun battle amongst teenage boys. Police say 2 teenagers were killed. 1 is in custody, and they're still looking for 2 more. And people I'm talking with in the neighborhood, they really just can't believe this happened inside their community in the middle of the day, especially with kids at such a young age. A 16-year-old boy, one of these 3, is in custody while facing murder charges. Arlington police are searching for the other 2. The department, while not identifying the juvenile who's in custody, says he killed 2 brothers, 13-year-old Josh Williams and 17-year-old Caleb Williams, outside the Artisan at Rush Creek Apartments off Sublette Road Friday afternoon.
And that looks like it could be a nice area. You see that a lot in the Stand, where places that look like they could be like amazing like areas, like really nice, structures and whatnot. A lot of green space. Looks pretty new. Looks like it's developed within the last 5 to 10 years. And it's a ghetto. You drive by and you're like, oh, that's a nice looking apartment. It's a ghetto because of the way the young men, the little game they play, shooting at each other all the time and beefing with each other.
2 brothers, 13-year-old Josh Williams and 17-year-old Caleb Williams, outside the Artisan at Rush Creek Apartments off Sublette Road Friday afternoon.
Anybody with a human heart, I feel, has been touched by this.
Neighbor Tina Dorsey spoke with the parents of the murdered boys.
It's no words. The only thing I could offer was hugs. And I asked them, do you want a hug? And they did. And I prayed with them because it's going to be some hard days. Very hard days ahead.
Police say it started because of an argument outside a barber shop. The barber shop owner says the kids were told to leave the area.
We believe the brothers were walking back towards their apartment when the other 3 individuals either went around the building or somehow met back up to them. There was another escalation of the argument, and that's when shots were fired.
Police don't know who shot first. Police believe one of the Williams boys fired at least one round before dying.
So, one of the Williams boys had a gun and fired one round. Now, was that in retaliation? But that's not even the point. Why did one of the Williams boys have a gun? Don't answer that. Because he needed it. All the other young boys got guns. And these young boys, probably homeboy, you probably go on their social media, it's probably money and guns and threats and F this, 12 and F that and cap and all that talk they do. It just, man. But yeah, they needed the gun, man. That's how it is. Of course they had a gun. They're little homeboys. They in that little world. Little tough guys. If something happens, they know that gunfire is the way that it's resolved. So if you know that gunfire is the way these things are resolved, you carry a gun.
Police don't know who shot first. Police believe one of the Williams boys fired at least one round before dying. The suspected killer fired multiple shots, but was also hit and tried to get away.
The juvenile that ended up jumping in a vehicle with a family member, based on the erratic driving that we observed, they thought that the car may be involved. So officers made a traffic stop in the neighborhood. When they went up to the car, they determined that he was shot in the shoulder and was trying to get to a hospital.
The murder weapon was found at the suspected killer's residence. A third gun found might belong to one of the other two people police are looking for.
We found a firearm at the fence line. We still believe two people are outstanding because they ran off. We don't have them identified.
Neighbors are sick of gun violence.
Hey, those babies, man. One of them guys was 13. It's a lot of stuff he could have did now that he'll never get to do.
Frederick Summers didn't know the teenage victims, but as a father himself, he put together a memorial Saturday and is now planning weekly cookouts for neighbors to come together and spread a message of peace.
At least trying to leave them with a positive message. Whether they listen to it or not, you did your part, you know what I'm saying?
I commend this brother for what he's trying to do, for having a heart, making a memorial for that young man. Those young men, even though he didn't know them, seems like a good brother. Now he's going to throw a cookout every week to help the community come together. What do you think is going to happen at that cookout one of these weekends before the summer's over? Don't answer that. You already know.
Hey, those babies, man. One of them guys was 13. It's a lot of stuff he could have did now that he'll never get to do.
Frederick Summers didn't know the teenage victims, but as a father himself, he put together a memorial Saturday and is now planning weekly cookouts for neighbors to come together and spread a message of peace.
At least trying to leave them with a positive message. Whether they listen to it or not, you did your part, you know what I'm saying?
Police say the guns used are not reported as stolen. There are still many layers to the investigation.
Who may have provided these firearms? Because these are all kids. They shouldn't have had guns to begin with.
That's something that really irks me right there, when everyone acts like they don't know where these guns come from. It's funny, when the Popeye spicy chicken sandwich was hot. Who remembers that? I know it feels like 50 years ago, but it was just last year. Last summer when this Popeye spicy chicken sandwich was hot. Remember that? Everyone had to get the spicy chicken sandwich. And I remember one day driving to 3 different Popeyes. And Couldn't get one. They had a sign on the drive-through speaker saying, we're out of chicken sandwiches. Come back tomorrow. And I went to 3 Popeyes in 3 different cities. But you know where you could find one? You could find a Popeyes chicken sandwich on the black market. People were going to Popeyes and buying a bunch of them and then selling them on the black market for like $25. Real talk. Facts. It's always irks me, and especially irks me when brothers like, brothers from the streets always say, like, where the guns coming from? We don't own no gun manufacturers. The guns come from the black market, man. The black market. You can buy anything on the black market. You can get a kidney on the black market if you know the right people. Okay? You can get anything on the black market. Capiche? That's where the guns come from. Even though we don't have no gun manufacturers in our community. Don't matter. You ain't got no diamond manufacturers in your community. You can get diamonds on the black market. You don't got a lot of stuff in your community. Black people don't make anything. We don't make anything except for hairdos. Hairdos and fried chicken. That's the only thing we can produce. We don't make anything. We don't make the shingles you put on the roof. We don't make the shoelaces you put in your shoe. We don't make cars. We don't make anything on the car. The tire, the pistons, nothing. We don't make anything. Okay? And we got all that stuff. So please stop saying we don't have any gun manufacturers in our community. Where all the guns coming from?
Police say the guns used are not reported as stolen. There are still many layers to the investigation.
Who may have provided these firearms? Because these are all kids. They shouldn't have had guns to begin with.
For now, families in the neighborhood are mourning.
We have to look to God now.
Arlington police will not be releasing the identity of that 16-year-old who is in custody because he is a juvenile. But again, they are looking for 2 additional suspects, and they're asking anyone who may have information or possibly surveillance footage from the area to give them a call.